All right. Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler up at Harvard University for a members only mailbag episode. So the way it's gonna work during the episode is everyone can watch. We were kind of debating how we wanted to do this to really give members some perks here, but everybody can watch, and we made it so that members only can chat in this episode. And that's just a perk of being a member, and we'll try and engage with the chat a little bit. But we got a ton of questions to run through here. It's awesome.
And we've got a green logo.
And we got a green logo still. Yes, that is true. We still have a green logo. We got about 45 questions here, and then we'll try and hit the chat up at the end, if depending on the time. But it should be. I mean, this should be a lot of fun here. Unfortunately, Jack couldn't make it, but you got Paul and Ziggy doing the members only mailbag, and it's kind of an exciting time to do the members only mailbag, both for the most of the NFC North teams, and then a little excitement. Maybe not excitement. I talk myself up into things. Obviously, the video, the title of the video, and the thumbnail of the video might be dreaming a little bit here as a Viking fan. Ziggy called me up and goes,
the comments Jamar Chase said were those comments AI. I can't believe he would say that. So who knows?
Did
Maybe something really is going on in
Jamar
Cincinnati.
Chase say that about Burrow? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said he couldn't believe Joe Burrow said that because he hadn't gotten any sniffs of it in the building. Like a reporter came up to him and showed it to him. He said, "Is that AI?"
Wow.
I can't believe Joe would say that.
Wow. That's actually almost unbelievable given Chase's response. All right. So release the chat.
Before we start, we got to give a quick shout out to Nathan Sahay for getting engaged.
I didn't even see that. Congratulations, Nathan. That's awesome. Congratulations on your engagement. Hope it all goes well. Maybe we'll see you at the wedding. A reminder to everyone, if you're not a subscriber, please remember to like, comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Again, in this members-only mailbag, where it's only members who can comment, but you can become a member by going to our channel homepage and selecting join to become a member. We're going to be having a member giveaway soon. The PFS store is back up and running. Have you seen that, Ziggy? The store's there.
It's the I Love Love shirt is no longer a collector's item unless you have a first run.
I just saw someone say the green logo hovering over Ziggy's head like a halo. That's pretty funny right there. The store's back up and running. We got a couple PFS shirts, the I Love Love, and then obviously I put Catholics versus Committee up there because I'm still jaded and spiteful. There is a question on that in the mailbag today. I will try to be reasonable in my reactions. I do want to say before we start going through, I'll shoot Jack a message, and if Jack can make it over, I know he's got some stuff going on, but if Jack can make it over, maybe he walks, maybe he can walk down and join later in the episode. But I'll shoot a message over to him. But I do want to start off briefly before the mailbag. The title of the video is Joe Burrow to Vikings. Now, do I actually think Joe Burrow is going to become a member of the Minnesota Vikings? Not really. But I actually think there's a chance that it could happen. I know we talked about it this offseason a few times, talked about even during the season momentarily, and it was kind of just mentioning something that was fun for us, or, maybe if someone tweeted it out and we're like, oh, this would be amazing. But all of a sudden now it feels like there are some real legs to Joe Burrow possibly being on the move, and being on the move could even mean not playing football at all. And
I almost think that's more likely.
It sounds more likely. But Joe Burrow, when talking to media recently, just the other day, he came out and his quote is this. Burrow said, as far as, hold on, let me get the exact quote here because I don't want to. He said, do I have fun playing? I mean, how much? Winning's always fun, but in general, was it as fun as before? No, I wouldn't say it was that way. I have to have fun doing it. If it's not fun, then what am I doing this for? And even Adam Schefter came out and said, other teams around the league, your ears perk up when you hear someone of Joe Burrow's status and Joe Burrow's, superstardom in the league say something like that. And other teams are paying attention now to what's happening here. The Bengals are not a very well-run organization. Burrow, of course, is going through all the different injuries for the past couple of years. The defense has been horrible. They've missed the playoffs now. Just 3 seasons in a row that they've been out of the playoffs. It's just very disappointing if you're Joe Burrow. Ziggy, I'll let you take the first crack because I've been rambling on here for a second, and then I'll come back to it. Should this be of any news to you?
I mean, it has to be news that Joe Burrow is coming out saying he's not having fun. He's not sure he wants to continue playing football. if he were to force his way out, there's a lot of different ways that could go. He could ask to get traded to a team that's better. He could do it like Andrew Luck and retire. But like it's hard to blame Joe Burrow for saying I'm not having fun when he's getting hurt all the time. The Bengals haven't been able to get an offensive line. He continues to like the Bengals suck even when he's playing. They don't have a defense. Like Joe Burrow has to be Superman every single week. And it's not like the Josh Allen Superman where like it sort of gets done. And if Allen plays well enough, the Bills probably win. When Joe Burrow plays well enough, the Bengals still usually lose. Like it's unbelievable what he has had to put up with in Cincinnati. And this isn't even considering the fact that the Bengals have a long history of frustrating their star players. Right, this is hardly the first time that a Cincinnati Bengals star player has gotten deeply upset with the organization and wanted out. So I'm the first time a Cincinnati Bengals star quarterback in his prime has wanted out. Right, I think Carson Palmer. Obviously, I don't think Palmer was quite as good as Joe Burrow, but like this is a weird place to be where players tend to get frustrated being on the team. And while I don't know if Joe Burrow would ask out or if they would let him go somewhere else, you don't say stuff like this unless you're seriously thinking about leaving.
You know what he sounds like, Ziggy, to me? And I just want to make sure it was just Joe Burrow's birthday. He just turned 29 years old. And while I'm not a, $50 million a year quarterback, and, none of my friends are either, unless you're hiding something that I'm just unaware of, he kind of sounds like someone in his mid to late 20s who's looking at what he's doing and goes like, I don't really know if I want to do this anymore. I know like a lot of our friends, and again, Joe Burrow's an NFL quarterback. It's different, but we're all still, we're all still dudes in our 20s, maybe you're approaching early 30s. And you hit this moment where I bet a lot of people who are listening right now had that moment where you're into your career a bit and you're like, I don't know, like, yeah, if you're having trouble at work, you're like, do I really want to do this? How much longer do I? And now there's a shelf life in football that's different from most other careers. But he kind of reminded me. I mean, even I've had bad like weeks of work producing. I'm like, gosh, like, is this what I want to do? Like, I kind of understand where he's coming from, especially given the struggles. Is that a crazy comparison?
I mean,
A
the
little bit.
comparison is different only in the sense of your jobs, but this is, I wouldn't say it's totally atypical for someone our age to go through this. What is atypical is for someone at the top of his career to be feeling like this already, right? Like you just don't hear NFL players talk like this very often, especially when, like Joe Burrow, they're being extremely well compensated and they're playing extremely well.
And Burrow too is someone I feel like even though he's quiet and a little strange with the media at times, he does seem to be pretty honest with them, or at the very least pretty open. And if I'm the Vikings listening to this, like if I'm Quasey right now, I would sell the farm for Joe Burrow immediately. People are concerned about the
I don't know,
injuries.
whatever the Bengals want.
Whatever it took. If Joe
Even
Burrow's
if it takes Justin Jefferson, which it wouldn't, because why would the Bengals want him? But
if
like,
if Joe Burrow's on the market, you have to go after him. Like end of discussion. You're on the phone right now, and here's where I'd go, Ziggy. Let me know if I'm offering too much here, because I really don't think you could offer too much. He's 29 years old. I would start the offer with McCarthy, who you just got to get JJ out of there if Burrow's coming in. McCarthy, I do 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. The Bengals would obviously say no to that. I would go all the way up. I would send McCarthy, Dallas Turner, 3 firsts and 3 seconds for Joe Burrow.
without blinking.
Without blinking. And maybe I wouldn't want to go further into the first round draft pick compensation, probably not even to second round pick compensation. You could talk me into maybe some other picks later on in the draft, but whatever it would take to get him, people are concerned that he's 29 and injury prone. I don't care. I don't care at all. Do you see where we are at the quarterback position? It's a nightmare. Would I rather roll the dice on 3 years of Joe Burrow staying healthy or continue whatever the hell we're doing right now? Oh my God. Like you go after Burrow every single time, and the Vikings are immediately Super Bowl contenders. Like top 5 Super Bowl contenders in the league.
So that's true. But the risk there, I think, is less that Joe Burrow won't be good or will get hurt. Obviously, there's some risk there, but it's not like getting traded to Minnesota automatically makes football fun either. Right. And like almost
I
everybody
don't
who
know.
quits sports at any age quits because they're not having fun before. right? When kids quit playing sports, the number one reason is that they're not having fun. When Andrew Luck was considering retirement in 2019, what he said was, if I'm not having fun playing football anymore, I'm going to quit. I'm going to retire. And then only a few months later, he decided he wasn't having fun anymore. Right. So, like, if Joe Burrow goes to Minnesota and decides that football is not for him, you may have just traded the entire future of your organization away for nothing. And what would be more Minnesota Vikings than that?
Well, there is something. I'll tell you in a second. But it would be pretty hysterical if we traded everything for Joe Burrow, and within a year, he's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. But what would wind up happening, and look, I mean, Justin Jefferson is there. Joe Burrow's worn purple and gold before. He's won with purple and gold before. I mean, it makes sense. But what ultimately would wind up happening is Burrow would come. He would not get hurt. That's what everybody's afraid of. He wouldn't get hurt. We'd, without a doubt, be one of the best teams in the league, go to the NFC Championship game, and have something absolutely catastrophic happen in the NFC Championship game. That's the story of the Vikings. The difference with Burrow, though, would be we're not going into it with an older quarterback towards the end of his career, one last run. No, we'd have a franchise quarterback. That's when he'd get hurt in year 2. That's how you would rip our hearts out. Year 1, NFC Championship game catastrophe. Year 2, then he gets injured. But I just want to start off with that. I actually think there's some, like, when there's smoke, there's fire. And this, to me, was a very clear indication of something's wrong in Cincinnati.
And there's no doubt that the Sharks are circling. But again, when someone comes out and says, if it's not fun, what am I doing it for? That doesn't sound like a guy who wants out. Like, that's not what Myles Garrett was saying when he was considering asking out. Like, when players ask for trade requests, that's not what they say. That's what guys say when they're about to, like, go retire in a farm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's if you're a Bengal fan today, you're very, very worried. Because even if it's a trade or retiring,
it doesn't matter for you.
I don't expect it to happen. I'd be very, very surprised if he's not with the Bengals. But I'm now, I'm raising my eyebrows to it.
I'm sure. No longer going to be shocked if he retires and quits the NFL.
Yeah, I guess we'd have a new 9 in Minnesota. All right, let's get into the mailbag. The questions here. Again, we got a bunch to run through, so we're going to do that right now. Ranger Halata says, with QBs coming out of retirement and others making a name for themselves, a top 5 weird to cool realistic free agents / backups to make a name next year list would be pretty sick. I actually have a couple names, Ziggy, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Run through it. I don't, and names like 5 through 3, I don't really have much about it here. It's kind of hard to predict out. I'm just thinking who could be fun in my mind. I would be interested if Jalen Milroe or Joe Milton would have an opportunity. Now, they probably wouldn't get a shot over Darnold or Dak unless there was, an injury. But at least those are guys that I'd be. Wait, but was I wrong about that? I saw you.
No. I'm on board.
I just think in the preseason,
Joe Milton would be. I feel like you'll be watching Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I like watching them in the preseason will be a lot of fun. I'm not sure we'll get much regular season action from them, but at the very least, those are two dudes, athletic guys. Milton had a really good preseason. We saw, Dallas make the move for him. I have at 3. I have Jameis Winston because he's been playing good football when he's in. Again, I don't think he's going to be a starter anywhere. But just as far as, he's very entertaining to begin with. I'd like to see if he stays in New York or maybe goes somewhere else and takes on more of a backup role with a contender. Okay, now the 2 that sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
The 2 that I have, I've circled here. Number 2 is Tanner McKee with the Eagles. I don't expect Tanner McKee to be playing starting football next year. But I put him there because this Jalen Hurts drama is truly getting ridiculous. And when you're calling in the Philly Inquirer for Tanner McKee to potentially be starting, it's just something I want to watch going into the offseason, especially if Philadelphia collapses as it seems like they're going to. There's going to be a lot of noise around Eagles camp, whether warranted or not. And McKee played well this year all throughout the offseason. If he does it again, I would love to hear the chirping start and for Philly to find themselves in a little bit of a dilemma, whether they should be or not. Do you like that one?
Sure. I mean, I'm curious who you have at number one because there's an obvious number one choice here.
I have Mac Jones at number one. I have Mac Jones. What? Who do you
That's
have?
your number one?
Well, Mac Jones, I think Mac Jones is coming into this offseason saying, like, can I try and find a starting job?
Sucked this year. He was no good.
I think Mac did a good job keeping the 49ers afloat.
Mac Jones was what people said Brock Purdy was. He was completely carried by the offense.
Who do you have at one?
Malik Willis, free agent.
No.
What do you mean no? Malik Willis is a much more interesting guy than Tanner McKee or Mac Jones.
Do you really see?
Mac Jones has played a lot of games of football and hasn't looked particularly good in them. I mean, there have been some okay stretches, but we know who Mac Jones is. Tanner McKee has been like fine when he's been in.
Well, has McKee? I don't even think he's been in the regular season.
No, he played one game for Philly and looked pretty good in it.
Look, I like Malik Willis.
Has looked good when he's been out there for the Packers, and I would like to see what he can do.
Sure, they don't really let him throw though. Like, I just don't see. Look, all right, I'm enjoying. You can put Malik Willis in there. I just don't think Willis is gonna get.
You're correct that the Packers don't have him throw the ball a lot. That's why it's interesting to see what happens if he goes somewhere else.
I think you could put Malik in that camp of Milton and Milroe, like probably a little bit above because he's actually played
winning football at the NFL level before.
Yeah, Malik Willis isn't. Those other guys, at least. Again, Winston is kind of a weird one in there, but. There wasn't anyone that jumped out to me, but that's my list. I'm sticking to it. I think Mac Jones is the most interesting of the backups, seeing what happens with him this offseason. If you were him, would you just stay in San Fran?
If I'm Mac Jones, I'm going wherever I get the most money. I don't care about anything else.
Fair enough. He might be the most valuable, though, for San Fran.
Maybe. There's a decent chance San Francisco is willing to pay him the most, but I think this is the best shot he's going to have to get paid. He's got to get there.
I don't hate Malik Willis. I don't hate Malik Willis at all. I just think he's a solid backup option for Green Bay. I'd be stunned if he was a starting quarterback next year. We'll continue on here. Bendo says, been a sub since 2022. Love the vids every week. Even when my Packers lose, y'all make the losses better to swallow. Also, Jack is the GOAT. That's, let's see here.
I think Jack's the GOAT like LeBron, right? He's good for a lot of the year, but now that it's playoff time, where is he?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man. Vincent says, if you guys go to Lambeau for a playoff game, you should do a meet and greet in Milwaukee. I'm a bartender at a sports bar where I'm sure you guys could do it. I'd like to meet you guys, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it to the trip for Green Bay for the playoffs. All right, Vincent, let us know what bar you work at. We'll take a look. We're throwing around that idea of a Packer playoff game. It's been mentioned, so let us know.
But we definitely consider doing something in Milwaukee since we did Green Bay last time.
Joe says, I'm graduating college December 17th.
Give it a round of applause for Joe.
Congratulations, Joe. 2 years associate degree. Love the show. Go Pack Go. Okay, all right. Hunter says, now that Ziggy's a Packers fan, the logo's green. What further changes should we expect to the channel now that you all root for the Packers? The most winningest franchise, by the way. All jokes aside, love your content and Vikings misery. As you can see, there's a little bit of a theme to these comments.
I think the San Francisco 49ers are the winningest franchise.
Are they officially?
They've won the most playoff games.
What about
by that metric? Do you know who the losingest franchise is?
Who's won the least playoff games?
Who's lost the most playoff?
Oh, lost the most playoff games.
I'll tell you, number 2 is Dallas.
The Packers.
The Minnesota Vikings have lost more playoff games than any other team.
Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. We've lost 32. The Packers have lost 27, the Rams 29, the Steelers 29, the Cowboys 30.
Well, you know what? We get there a lot. We
also have the 29th winning percentage. Man. Only the Bengals, Lions, and Chargers have a lower winning percentage than us. So we get there a lot, and we lose more than anyone else.
Zeppelin brings up a good point here, and I forgot to address it. If we're counting Kyler as a true backup right now, the answer is Kyler Murray 1,000% at the top.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be a breakout. He's a guy who's started for a bunch of years and will get to start somewhere else.
Even if we're counting Kyler as a backup, he is 1,000% he by far number one on that list of someone who can again, not break out but resurrect his career. That I would not mind at all if the Vikings got Kyler and made it a competition. Now that could get a little awkward depending on how JJ finishes the year. So we're just going to have to see where it goes. But yes, great shout out. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. The question for Ziggy from Butt Pounder 420. Is the 6'7" meme purely... here we go with this stupid thing. Is the 6'7" meme purely an in-group signifier amongst Zoomers and Alfies?
I will say, because I wasn't sure what this was initially, like how to answer this question, I Googled 6'7", and when you Google 6'7", the like page does the...
Yeah.
It's disgusting. 6'7" doesn't carry a meaning. It is absolutely just an in-group signifier. You're 100% correct. Like, people sometimes ask the question, like, what does 6'7" mean?
We're not doing this.
Its meaning just is as an in-group signifier. You're 100% correct.
Yeah. We can't go down this rabbit hole. I do want to say today, Ziggy, I thought you'd find this fun because I don't talk about my job too much on the podcast.
Well, I mean, when you mentioned Colin Cowherd was your boss, we got a bunch of comments like, "Is Paul trolling? There's no way. What does he mean?"
Oh, actually,
talk about your job. Yeah, no, people are shocked. They don't know what your job is.
Oh, that's kind of funny. Well, no, I mean my job. Yeah, I work for the Volume, but I produce Nick Wright's show, What's Right with Nick Wright, right now. And
he just shouted you out on a recent show.
On an episode of What's Right. Yes. Not on first
right.
He's
like, oh, Minnesota Vikings fan Paul knows the Vikings suck this year.
Oh yeah, I finally got some acknowledgement for the Vikings because I mean we have a great group of producers on that show. They're awesome. Daniel, Matt, everyone, Vic. But today we're finishing the show and it's Nick and his son DeMonze, and we're about to film our gambling show. And DeMonze's a big Ravens fan. Nick is a big Chiefs fan. I was like, guys, I mean, Joe Burrow to the Vikings seems like it could help us out here. It helps you guys get Joe Burrow out of there. It helps me clearly getting Joe Burrow. Like I'd like to start pushing this narrative. And I started talking through. I'm like, you got, Justin Jefferson's there. And Nick's like, oh yeah, wait, he played with Jefferson, isn't it? I was like, yes, Nick, he did. And Nick goes like, I might use that on TV today. I like that. So I was turned in the beginning of First Things First. Him and Chris Broussard start talking teams, and I loved it because you hear Nick going like Minnesota, and I would love. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to push this Joe Burrow to Minnesota as much as I can. Which, yeah,
look, as we saw in college football this year, sometimes if the media says things enough, it just happens.
Yeah, I know. That's my revenge here on the media, which I guess isn't revenge at all. I'm serious, man. I'm plotting some stuff right now. I'm plotting. I'm very upset about this Notre Dame situation. AKS Winterman. Yeah, like I could do anything. Who would each of you put on your Mount Rushmore of personal favorite athletes of all time? Could be across any sport at any level. Oh, it was cool hearing Nick Wright give Paul a shout out on What's Right. Keep grinding, boys. That's funny. I didn't know that was the next comment. Do you have a Mount Rushmore?
I mean, I've got one, okay. But people are perhaps not going to like it. So what counts as an athlete here? This is my first question.
Oh boy. Just tell me what you think, and then I'll tell you if the guy should count or not.
So we got Tadej Pogacar, the cyclist.
Okay.
Do you count cycling? Does that count?
Cycling counts as a sport. I mean, no one will know.
Usain Bolt, surely.
Okay. Really, Bolt? Why Bolt?
He's just, when I was a kid watching him, like the 2012 Olympics was the first time I really started like watching sports as a kid.
Okay.
Right. I'd like heard of sports. I'd seen some sports, but my parents always sat us down to watch the Olympics. And that's the first one I really remember. And seeing this guy show up and just like be better than everyone else without even really looking like he was trying, like this gave you some idea of like what sports are about, right? Like you're just watching greatness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was unbelievable. You got two more?
Broxa.
I'm sorry. What?
Broxa.
Who's Broxa?
He was a jungler for Fnatic back in the day.
A juggler?
Jungler. He played esports. Does this count?
No, esports
I
does not
love
count.
this. What do you mean this doesn't count? He's an athlete.
No, he's an esport is not an athlete. You're a gamer.
What do you mean it's not an athlete?
An esports guy? You're not an athlete. It's not athletic.
It's called sports. Sports is in the name.
Esports. I mean, no, it's not electronic sport. It's not.
No. I'm counting it.
You're not an athlete.
You can't stop me.
What? All right.
And then number 4, Gabby Douglas.
Okay.
She went to my high school.
Did you know her?
No.
Your high school had a lot of. Well, that was like the
But like, I saw her graduate high school.
Well,
Like
you're
I'd seen her before, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Someone went to my high school, is like winning at the Olympics.
well, your thing was like your high school wasn't it big for like up and coming celebrities?
All the Disney kids went there. Zendaya went there. Olivia Rodrigo
Wait,
went
why?
there.
Why? Like, what's the deal with that school?
They had a independent school program where like you could work on set or for athletics or whatever and still get credit by
Got
like
it.
having a teacher, and it was a public school. So if you wanted to signal like we do public school here, but also I want to work,
Yeah,
that's how it worked.
man, I should have gone there. As everyone knows, there are now two reasons that this podcast exists. The first one, as anyone with like, we should one day do Paul Farrington show trivia and just go through some things. Like that would kind of be fun if we put out polls and that would actually be really fun. I like that idea. Obviously, the number one reason this show exists is to eventually get me a date with Olivia Rodrigo. That's the goal of the show. Most people would say, build community, we're having fun with friends. No, that's the number one goal. I think the number two one now is for me to exact revenge on a large handful of people, powerful people in sports. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do that without really hurting myself along the way.
There is no way to pursue revenge without hurting yourself.
Yeah, I guess. Is that philosophically is that a philosophical truth?
I mean, it's in the wisest book there is. It just says this over and over again.
Gosh, yeah, you're right. Oh man, I guess you just
You
gotta
can't
let it
do it,
go,
Paul.
right?
You
I
can't
guess you
do
just
it.
gotta let go. My athletes. See, the problem is all the athletes that or a handful of the athletes that were my guys growing up, all wound up having like massive scandals. But my favorite athletes were Adrian Peterson was by far my favorite athlete as a kid. I loved A-Rod growing up as a Yankee fan. Big fan of A-Rod. I'll try and diversify the sports. Loved Vince Carter. As a New Jersey Nets fan, Vince Carter was a ton of fun to watch. And let's see. I mean, Percy Harvin was, yeah, I'd probably go Percy. Percy, I know I said I would diversify, but I was a huge Percy guy. Really liked him at Florida, wanted the Vikings to draft him, and was just the happiest guy in the world when we took him in the draft. Have his jersey hanging in my room, signed jersey. That was an awesome Christmas gift. Jeter's right there as well.
Can I make a quick change in my Mount Rushmore?
Sure.
I put Tade Pogacar on there, but Grant Arnody came with a super chat and asked about Thibaut Pinot. And I realized Thibaut Pinot is the cyclist that belongs in my Mount Rushmore. When he retired, I mean, you remember I made like a whole long post about Thibaut Pinot.
Thibaut Pinot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, I do remember the post. Yes,
like this guy is just he never won anything significant. He was French in all the ways you can be good in French. And now he lives on his
How many ways can you really be good in French?
There's one.
It's what be
That's
good.
the way Thibaut Pinot was. He raced with his emotions. He didn't care about tactics or efficiency or anything. He was the Minnesota Vikings of cycling.
Wait, just
always
lose?
when
Did he
things
crash
were
at the
looking
end
up for him, tragedy would strike.
Wait, he crashed at the end of the races a lot?
It's not even crashes. Like his quad would get strained. He'd get sick.
Struck by
Like,
lightning?
some disaster would happen.
Did the tornado come through at the end?
Pretty much.
From Obenrick. He says, I'm extremely impressed with how Keyshawn Nixon's playing this season. He's doubled his passes defended. Is it time to consider him a top 10 cornerback in the league? Maybe even closer to top 5? No. Would be my answer. Do you agree?
I mean, the biggest problem with Keyshawn Nixon has got to be the penalties.
Well, he leads the league.
Only one player in the NFL has more penalties than Keyshawn Nixon. It's Darnell Wright.
Well, yeah, he leads all cornerbacks in penalties. I mean, look, I maybe I dismissed that a little too quickly. Like, I don't think he's in the mix for top 10 cornerbacks in football, but I think he's been a huge boost to the Packers, obviously, for their secondary that had a lot of question marks. Like, he's risen to the occasion. Could he get to top 10? Potentially. Did he make an unbelievable play at the end of the Bears game? Absolutely. But no, he's not top 10.
For Keyshawn Nixon, becoming top 10 will require keeping the positive plays and getting rid of the negative ones. And that's very hard to do. If he can, though, he does have the talent.
He's an awesome story this year with him. He's having a breakout year for himself. And you got to be happy for him. But no, not top 10. James Library, how do you guys feel about the Jets' future now that it looks like they won the trade with the Colts? assuming Phillip Rivers doesn't save them, and how many early round picks, and they have so many early round picks in the next few seasons. Winning the trade with the Colts, I feel unfair saying that just because Sauce got hurt.
But also, we knew it was a bad trade at the time.
Yeah, we knew the Colts were going all in. We knew that it kind of, tied their hands behind their backs as far as having to extend Daniel Jones, who with his injury now, it's total nightmare for the Colts. I think if you're a Jet fan, you're actually kind of excited. At least I would be. Obviously, you don't like the position you've been in forever, pretty much. But if you're going to go into an offseason, it's pretty cool to have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years, 2 from the Colts, 1 from the Cowboys. You have 3 second-round picks, you're 2 of your own, and then 1 from Dallas as well. So a lot of ammunition, and you can either use all those picks, right? And you're going to have, you're going to have 8 new guys coming in, first or second rounders over the next 2 years. Or if there's someone you fall in love with, a quarterback prospect, you're going to be able to move up and give it another crack at your franchise QB. I don't know who that'll be right now. Do they want to go and make a move for Mendoza if he winds up being the number 1 pick? What's going to happen with Arch? We don't know. I think CJ Carr is going to be a very high pick when he comes out, but that's the only piece of this where I wouldn't be excited. There's no surefire number 1 pick coming out in the next couple of years.
That's the only reason you're not excited?
I mean, as far as the draft picks go, I'd be very excited.
But the draft picks are irrelevant.
Why?
As long as Woody Johnson is in charge of this team, the Jets will never amount to anything.
You need a quarterback.
Remember, when Woody Johnson was asked, is he a good owner? He said, I'm not a good owner in terms of winning, but I'm good in other ways. He's a good owner if your goal is to lose as many games as possible. In the NFLPA report card, 1 owner got an F, and it was Woody Johnson. His response was to sue the NFLPA and say you're violating the law by putting this out there. He was ranked 32 out of 32 on willingness to invest in facilities, 32 out of 32 in positive team culture, and 31 out of 32 in commitment to building a competitive team. As long as your owner is Woody Johnson, unless he gets sent off to another foreign country like he did during the one span of decent Jets football of our lifetime, he's not going anywhere, and neither are the Jets.
Oh, man. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm trying to find some semblance of hope for the Jets, Ziggy.
I'm being,
you're being more realistic.
I know you're in New Jersey. We don't want to say it's doom and gloom. But there's only one owner who comes out when their quarterback's struggling and says, yeah, our quarterback sucks. If he could complete 1 pass, we could win a game.
If one of these guys in the draft that they get over the next couple of years pans out at quarterback, things change very quickly. So that's it. Like, I know Woody's a bad owner. You need the quarterback. That's why I'm willing to trade everything as a Viking fan for Joe Burrow if that were ever realistic. You have the quarterback, you can win. The door opens to winning. Without the quarterback, the door is not open at all. So that's where, at least you have some ammunition, but it's tough as a Jets fan. Dobby the Dominator. Is it just me that wants to see the Panthers get the 4 seed? I don't think so. I bet both of us do. They've played the real contenders more competitively as of late and seem to be on an upwards trajectory when compared to the Bucks. Who are you rooting for?
I'll tell you straightforwardly, I want to see the Panthers get the 4 seed because the 5 seed's probably going to be an NFC North team, and it'll be good for our channel when they win.
Oh, really? Is that
because the Panthers have no chance at winning anything in the playoffs? So yeah, go Panthers. Sure,
yeah, I don't think that they actually.
This team sucks. I mean, every NFC South team sucks, but the Panthers suck more than average.
Yeah, I don't think the Panthers are good. I've been vocal on that all season. I'll give them credit though. I mean, you beat the Rams, you beat the Packers. Those are impressive wins, and they've found ways to do it. Their defense has had games where they show up. Their rushing attack has had games where they absolutely showed up. Remember the Rico Dowdle run was unbelievable, and Bryce has made a couple big time throws. I don't buy them at all as a playoff threat, like whatsoever. But they'll have their opportunity against Tampa. I'm rooting for them as well. I mean, yeah, it's a good point you made about the channel, but I just I do like Baker though. Watching Baker in the playoffs would be more fun, but there is something just kind of entertaining about like how are the Panthers doing this? I don't know. So yeah, I think I'm kind of rooting for them too. General Barnaky says, will Ziggy start a Packers corner column in the Crimson?
I'm not a student at Harvard, so I don't think I'm allowed to write in the Crimson, but also no.
That's really funny though. Seabass the scumbag. Can you please can you explain all the items on and around the desk? I need some PFS lore. Also, you should put some shelves behind the desk to add room for fan mail presents. It's actually not a bad idea. Do we have room behind here?
I doubt that your family would endorse that.
We can put a little bit of stuff there. As far as the desk goes, let's see. Can people see? This is a mug, a Viking mug. It says, "We almost always almost win." Just pretty funny. This is a Notre Dame helmet. This is actually a Joe Montana signed Notre Dame helmet. As we know, big Notre Dame fans on this show. As we know, very upset Notre Dame fans on this show. This is Pineapple Pete. He sings the Pina Colada song. Pineapple Pete has a little bit of a hobble though. He spins around when you hit the button. When we first got him, we had game days here at the Farrington house. We were watching football, and every time someone scored, someone would go and hit the Pina Colada song button, and he'd start dancing.
Like anyone scored?
Yeah, it was kind of just out of control. And after like the 15th time it happened, my aunt just went, "I can't do this anymore," and flung him off the table. So now he has a little bit of a limp. Then the Norse brick. This is for when you're upset watching the Vikings play. You could throw it at your TV. It's made of foam, and it won't break anything. Very useful, very valuable. Signed Brett Favre mini helmet. This was the Packer football that I begrudgingly still have here, but it was a very kind gift from James and Lori, 2 listeners, when we went out for the live show. Over here, can you still see this? Just a little holiday bear. What does he say? Welcome. And right off camera, we had the Jay Wright signed Villanova hat that my brother got when he met Jay during freshman orientation for the Villanova Business School. Actually, a very funny story, Ziggy. Matt met Jay Wright, got the hat signed, got a book signed at the Nova Business School. And he's telling me about this. He was the last kid in line, right? So everyone goes through, and he talked with Jay for an extra couple minutes. Introduced himself. They had a nice conversation. And like a week later, I'm on the phone with Matt, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, sorry." And I just hear him go like, "Oh, hey. And he comes back on the phone. He's like, "Paul, Jay Wright just drove by me and said, 'Hey, Matt, how's it going?'" So, which
I mean,
actually,
to be a successful coach like that, you got to be able to remember everyone, right? Like, think about how many people these guys meet.
I thought that was
every booster wants to be remembered. Every player wants to be remembered. Like, I get it.
I thought that
Still
was a really cool thing about Jay Wright, though, that he remembered his name after, a very brief conversation. Let's continue on here. My Endless Void. How come Jack is never present? Kind of funny. Never present for Behind Enemy Lines. Jack's a teacher, so he's finishing up class. It just doesn't work out timing-wise for him very well. Hopefully we can get him on with Andy. Fantasy Camp says, "New member, love your show. I take it you guys are not from Minnesota. How did you get to be Vikings fans?"
I blame Paul and Paul.
The tragic story of how we became Vikings fans. My dad started rooting for them when he was a kid. He liked the Purple People Eaters. They were really good. And he didn't want to root for the Giants and Jets. Every time they'd lose, he would just continue to root for them more and more as he got made fun of by his friends who cheered for other teams. And eventually it became what it is today. I was raised on, Vikings win, celebrate. Vikings lose, sad football day. And unfortunately, I put that onto Ziggy as well when Ziggy was starting to get into football, who you avoided it, I would say, rather skillfully by going to Ziggy's like, "Yeah, my dad's a Jets fan, and I got to be a Jets fan." Luckily, you got out of that hellhole. Then you went to the Rams for a bit, and then you left them right before they won the Super Bowl and joined here saying, "My heart's always been in it." I knew they were going to
win a Super Bowl. I said at the time, like, they're going to win, and I can't be part of this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
And he was a Rams fan because Ziggy's like loosely from California. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I brought you down this path, but that's how it happened. Hidden Handle says, "If you swap any coach from the Packers to the Vikings, who would it be and why?" Do you have an answer for this? Because I honestly do not.
So this is an interesting question. I'm assuming we mean like current Packers coaches. I'm sort of happy with the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff.
Yeah, me too.
Like, if I wanted to, I could go down and look at maybe like Luke Butkus is okay. Sean Mannion, I think, is a good quarterback coach. I wouldn't mind having him in the building. But overall, I'll be honest, how much do I really know about the Packers defensive quality control coach just not a lot.
No, me neither.
And it's, as an outsider, I mean, even for teams like, I know all the coaches on the Vikings, but it's sort of hard to tell what people do. The question is, do we want their head coach, their coordinators, or like their position coaches? And I'm happy with who we have at all those positions.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm sorry to not really give a great answer for the question, but I looked at it straight up. Like, would I swap Halfley and Flores? No, I like Flores. Would I swap LaFleur and O'Connell? No, I like O'Connell. Like, I'm very happy with what the Vikings have. And I think the Packers have a really solid foundation, a really solid coaching staff as well. But I just wouldn't
Would
do
you
the
bring
swap.
in Rich Bisaccia?
Unlikely. But I don't. I like Rich Bisaccia. He's been very good to me, and I thought he did a great job with the Raiders. Like, I'll give him credit for that. I know he gets.
I don't really know why it's going so bad in Green Bay.
No, it's weird. J.K. Zarata, you can rewind 5 years to the 2020 QB draft class and draft any QB taken in that draft for your franchise, but you also have to take on their injuries. Who are you drafting to give your team the best shot? So
I assume by this he means, like, we can't say we'll get Joe Burrow and our offensive line is better, so he's not going to get hurt. Like, they have all the same injuries they do, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes, but so the quarterbacks are, you have Burrow, you have Tua, you have Herbert, you have Love, right? And you have Jalen Hurts. The answer is, without a doubt, Joe Burrow. Without a doubt. He's been healthy for 3 full seasons, right? His rookie year, he got hurt. His second year, he wins AP Comeback Player of the Year and goes to Super Bowl. His third year, he's 4th in MVP. His 5th year, they get hurt. His 4th year, he gets hurt. His 5th year, Comeback Player of the Year again, 4th in MVP. Throws for 43 touchdowns and 9 picks. And then this year, gets hurt again. Those 3 years when he's healthy, he's arguably the best player in football, or right up there. I think you have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl in those 3 years of Burrow than anyone else being healthy throughout their career. Fair enough?
Cool, I'm taking Jordan Love. Assuming Jordan Love can play at this level from day one, like, there's developmental pathways and all of this. But if we're getting Jordan Love, like, as we saw him in his first season, moving forward,
I don't know if I can agree.
If Jordan Love is to sit on the bench for 3 years, that's one thing. I'm saying if we get Jordan Love the quality of his first season and beyond, starting year one, I'm taking him.
What do you mean? You can't just say that. Jordan Love was. We talked to Eddie Packer source. Jordan Love's first couple of years, he was horrendous in practice.
Who has any idea if that's true? We didn't look great in practice, but it's hard to know what that means.
Yeah, I think maybe you could. I don't think Jordan would get going until the end of his second year. And
if he gets going the end of his second year, I'm taking Jordan Love.
Even if you give him that,
you call the first year a total bust. I'm taking him.
Yeah, but I'm calling the second year a lot of ups and downs as well. I mean, Burrow, man, peak Burrow.
Hey, Joe Burrow's first year wasn't great either.
No, but I mean, year 2 he goes to Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't care. I'm sacrificing 3 years. And look, even this year, I mean, he came back. If the Bengals were able to stay afloat, they would be in contention. Like, I think it's Burrow. I don't really think it's close, honestly. It's funny, Tua you can't with the concussions, and he's just not in that class.
And no one is even neither of us are even considering Jalen Hurts.
No, Herbert honestly would be my number 2.
That's crazy.
And then I'd put Love at 3. But I mean, it's close with those guys.
Jordan Love has put together 2 or 3 seasons better than anything Justin Herbert ever has, but you take Herbert anyway. It's very strange.
Well, throughout from now, I mean, going forward, I think I'd rather have going forward.
Would you rather the guy who's put together 3 of the best 3 seasons between them, or the guy who hasn't?
I'd probably take Love going forward. I don't think you're being completely fair to Herbert, but yeah, I still Burrow would be my number 1. Let's see. And someone says Jordan's healthier. Mostly. Michael Morrell, based on performance by all teams in the NFC playoff picture and how good the Texans defense has been this year, which team would be the most successful versus Houston, and who would have the toughest time? So they've played a handful of these teams, and the Seahawks, if I'm remembering, had the best performance against Houston. That was the night game where the Houston defense was still really good that game. Didn't they? Oh yeah, didn't they force a ton of turnovers? And I'm pretty sure Darnold fumbled in the end zone.
Yeah.
I think they played the Rams to open the year.
And the Rams won in a sort of ugly game.
I think I'd still have to go with the Rams. As the years gone on, I think they've continued to get better. They can attack you in every single way possible. Stafford's the best quarterback of the group. Their offensive line's really good. There's a piece of me that's like, Detroit's offense when it's going, but I think they just eat up that interior. I go with the Rams. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just going to rank. I think the answer is just put the best team first and the worst team last. Like the Rams, Seahawks, Packers in that order, because I think those are the three best teams in the NFC in that order. I think it's that simple.
The Lions, like when they're on, they're on. I can also see a world where you get after Goff and they're picking apart that offensive line, and there's nothing he can do. I mean, that Josh Allen
the Texans
Bills
have what it takes to beat the Lions. And that's not to say the Lions couldn't win, but the Texans have the formula that's beaten the Lions historically.
The Bills Texans game was just one of the most unbelievable defensive performances I've ever seen. What they were doing to Josh Allen. This defense is, I mean, they can go to the Super Bowl. The Texans can legitimately go to the Super Bowl with that defense and who they're going to have to go through in the AFC. Like I'm not a big believer in the offense, but would it stun anyone if they went into Denver or went into New England and just had a masterclass on defense?
The Texans are a high variance team. Like the offense can explode, the defense can shut people down. You're just asking a lot to do them against good teams consistently.
Yeah, you're asking a lot of it, but they're like a run is possible. I think they're capable of. Yeah, I think they're capable of doing it. It's unlikely, but I'm shocked at the turnaround they've had. Zeppelin again says, what would you sacrifice or give up to have a run on QBs like the Packers have had? Favre, Rodgers, Jordan. Also, do you think you could survive and escape Jurassic Park? No, dude, I'm getting torn apart by something. It would be horrible. Raptor, T-Rex, whatever you want to call it. I mean, assuming that it's not a movie. Like if it's a movie, yeah, I'm sure the writer. I think I'm a likable enough character that the writers would let me off the island.
I'm dying first in a Jurassic Park movie. I'm like the nerd that like puts out the warning, like don't do it, and then I made an example of.
No. You're in the control room. You're safe in the control room, and then
I don't think so. I think I'm the person who gets killed. It's to send a message.
No shot. You're in the control room, and you're in Jack and I's ear, and you're telling us where to go, and then like a dinosaur comes in, and you take care of it in the control room, and you get out to the car. Like you're the one driving us away. You would survive.
I'm putting this to a poll. There's no way I don't die in Jurassic Park.
No, I think you absolutely live. Jack is easily the most likely to be offed in a Jurassic Park movie.
Jack's the overcome guy. He goes, I can beat the dinosaurs, no problem. I'll just outrun them. And then like the Velociraptor comes out and just murks.
Yeah, there's a world where all three of us live. I think I would go Jack, me, you in terms of who I would most expect to get.
No, it's Jack, me, you.
Yeah, I guess the poll's saying you'd be gone.
For people who are missing Jack, he would have responded to my comment by saying, I'd absolutely outrun the dinosaurs.
I mean, a simulation of that would be fun. As far as what I'd sacrifice to have a run like the Packers, I think I've matured over the years where I really wouldn't want to give up anything. I mean, I enjoy my life. Is that fair? I'm content, Ziggy.
I'm not giving up anything of value. Football is of basically no value.
I'm not giving anything. I know some people like I'd give my toe or I'd give my pinky. Like I'm willing to.
This is if you would give your toe or your pinky, you're not. Something's wrong.
I'm willing to ride this out to the end of the line here, and I believe that somewhere down the road, the football gods will smile upon the Vikings. And that's why the show exists, because that will never happen. But I trick myself into believing it. Joe says, when are y'all booking the members only suite for the Lambeau playoff game? Maybe like 1 million more subscribers.
If we hit 1 million, that might happen.
Eric Wallace, at this point in the season, what do you think would be the best Super Bowl match to watch from a pure watching perspective? I think it'd be Rams versus Patriots narrative. Packers versus Steelers. pure watch narrative, I like Packers Steelers. I think that's a good option. Um, Watching standpoint, you got to get the Patriots
It's
out of there.
it's but the thing is, so like the Buffalo has to be the
Buffalo's the
best from
answer.
watching
Yes,
standpoint, right? None
easily.
of the other AFC teams are that exciting. If you love defensive football, you like if you like the Patriots Rams Super Bowl, the Texans could be up there.
Bills,
But it's
Bills,
clearly the Bills.
Buffalo's easily the AFC choice. Get Philly out of there. Get
The easy answer, it's Bills Rams 100%. You could also sell me on Bills Packers.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like the Lions. The Lions aren't even in there right now. I mean, man, narrative wise, if you have like Bills Bears or Bills, I mean, obviously Steelers Packers would be one with Rodgers, but Bills Lions also great narrative. I guess the Lions aren't even in the field right now.
I mean, narrative wise, the best is if the Bengals make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean, these teams at this point.
The Bengals are not eliminated.
No, I'm trying to think of teams who are in the field right now. The Bears getting in is that would be a big talking point. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with Bills and Rams, and then I'll do Packers Steelers as well. All right, as we're going through here, Joshua, stemming off what Jack said earlier in the week, after Steelers are out in the playoffs, I root for my division. Paul, if the Packers are playing the Saints in the playoffs, you ain't rooting Pack. Love the show, boys. Keep her up. I would root.
You would root for the Packers, but it wouldn't be because like they're in your division. It'd be because you.
It's because I hate the
more
Saints
than any other team.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call it rooting for the Packers. I would cheer against the Saints harder than I would cheer against the Packers. Would be the answer. Wrecked entry says the rookie on the Packers D-line, Brinson, had some big-bodied plays to help blow up the run against the Bears. Any takes on his performance specifically and how the D-line compares to the Vikings D-line? Do you expect the Vikings line to return to dominance in the NFC? Jarrett Allen was a while ago now. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't watched a second of tape on Brinson. Have you?
I mean, I've seen a few plays.
I saw a couple plays. Like, yeah, he's playing well, and he's filling an important role now with the injuries. But as far as like my attention has not been brought to Brinson. If you have something,
it is kind of crazy. Like Warren Brinson, he had a great game against Minnesota, but I think a lot of guys had a great game against Minnesota.
Everyone did.
He's been okay in pass rush. He has a lot of developing to do as a player, and if he gets where they're hoping, like he definitely could be the Rashawn Gary replacement. But we're a long way from there.
He's very important here towards the end of the season, though. Like
they need interior. Like who knows when or if Van Ness is coming back.
And as far as the D lines go, both teams have. I mean, obviously, Mike is just the elite of the elite pass rushers. I think Van Ginkel and Grenard are basically that tier. Like they're unbelievable as well.
Dallas Turner is becoming a problem.
Yes, but when you say both teams on the interior could use a little. Like the Vikings are just old in the interior of the D line. Although Redmond has been awesome this year. He's been a saving grace. But as far as the D line, if you had to take one, which one would you take?
Which defensive line?
Yeah.
I'm taking the one with the second best edge rusher in football.
I think, yeah.
Like once you have Micah Parsons, you can expect it's like we can figure everything else out. The Vikings are still looking for that one-of-one superstar.
I mean, it's hard to find. There's only like 4 or 5 in the league.
I'm not even sure there's that many. I think it's like Myles Garrett tier, Micah Parsons, maybe Max Crosby tier, everyone else.
I think you could throw Watt in there too.
Watt's old now, though.
All right.
He isn't. You have to admit this year's been a fall off for TJ Watt.
Yeah, but I think he's still awesome. Goose and Quill, take this year's Packers defense, give it to Rodgers at any point of his career. How many more Super Bowls does he win? I don't think this Packers defense is like unbelievable. I think that they have their moments where they've been very good, but they've also had their moments where they've struggled at times. I'm trying to remember the Rodgers teams. I mean, they got housed by the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Seattle, Atlanta was bad.
I think like that 2013 Packers team like went 8-7 and lost in the wild card because their defense gave up like 450 points that year.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe you give them one more, but That's a better question for Andy than it is for me, honestly.
Andy like knows these encyclopedically. He'd be able to rank you the top 5 players.
Nathan says, late question, but if you had to get a Packers player's jersey, what player would you pick? I mean, if I had to, it'd be Love. Like, I mean, I have a Jordan Love jersey. As everyone
Unfortunately,
knows.
Paul, you have to be careful saying this because one might show up at your doorstep.
Oh gosh. Love would be the answer because Jordan Love has made this channel. Like, he broke it out. So I like Jordan Love. I'm a Jordan Love guy.
If anybody gets like a Jordan Love signed helmet or something, we are committed to putting it on the desk.
Yes, I would do that 100%. Midwest Mountain Man, Paul, what would be more painful for you this football season? Seeing Darnold hoist the Lombardi while McCarthy performs poorly, or will Notre Dame missing the playoffs still trump that? Yeah, the Notre Dame playoff, that is, I mean, it's the third worst football day of my life after the Eagles and Saints conference championship games. I mean, that was just, it's a total travesty, total sham, corruption. It's devastating. I am completely torn apart football-wise from that. If Darnold wins the Super Bowl, par for the course. Yeah, it sucks for us. And I like Sam Darnold. I wouldn't be miserable in the sense that I'd be happy for Sam, and we made the decision, and I supported it at the time. The Notre Dame thing is
I don't want to see Sam Darnold suffer or fail. I just wish he was playing well for us, and it's just unfortunate that we got rid of him, and he's played really well.
Yeah, the Notre Dame thing is gut-wrenching. Jared Jorgensen says, when watching the Packers recently, it feels like they can hold a team to achieving nothing in the first half. When the second half rolls around, there's always a long drive that eats up the clock. What does the defense have to do differently to hold teams in the third and fourth quarter like they have in the first and the second? Also, Jack is a very handsome boy and has done nothing wrong. Hashtag free my boy. Hashtag Jackamaniac. Hashtag Jack and Ziggy kiss Cam Wen. I look, we've talked about this with Andy a lot this year. It's kind of weird. The Packers defense, generally speaking, has been very good. I'm trying to think. They weren't bad in the second half against. I'm trying to remember the Detroit game, how that went. That was like Amon-Ra went down, and then they started giving up a ton of yards, right, on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, pretty much. But the second half of that Detroit game, they gave up one touchdown and a field goal when they were up 31-21 with like 5 minutes.
I mean, recently, I thought they played well in the Philly game. The Viking game, they obviously dominated. The Giant game was one where the Giants were doing it the whole game. I feel like that was more of an early year Packers thing, where they were really good in the first half. And even against Cleveland, right? Like, they didn't get... The Bengals, it happened. The Cowboys, it happened, but Dak was just on fire.
You can say they gave up a touchdown in the fourth quarter against Philly, but like, you weren't holding Philly to 3 points the whole game. This has not been a year, I think, where the Packers defense has collapsed in the fourth quarter with big leads.
I get what he's saying, though. Like, it's happened at times, and when the pass rush hasn't gotten home, there was a point in the year where they were just getting picked apart for like on little checkdowns. It felt like they're 3-4 yards at a time. No one's there. You turn it into a 9-yard gain. Like, that happened, and I think they've been better at that recently.
Yeah, I mean, what the Packers need ultimately is, I think the edge rushers are fine. They need someone at defensive tackle who can pass rush and run defend, which is obviously a huge ask. Very few guys can do that at an elite level. But that's the sort of thing that gets defenses off the field, because then you can't run on them or pass on them. With Devontae Wyatt out, they need someone new.
All right, we got Mercury Road. If an Arctic blast hits Soldier Field in the Packers-Bears rematch and Jordan Love gets frostbite, has all of his limbs amputated, will he have 5 more touchdowns than Caleb Williams, or is 4 more realistic? I want to be fair here. Mercury Road is great Bears digs. X Johnny Bones XX. Could you agree with the take that Love so far has been every bit as good as Rodgers his first 3 years as a starter? I remember the comparisons they were showing were very similar on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see much of a reason to say he hasn't been. I mean, 2010, obviously, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl.
Well, that's it. Rodgers got red hot.
Factored in, but if you're just talking about on-the-field performance, right? Rodgers spent those seasons throwing for like 4,000 yards, about 30 touchdowns, a little over double-digit interceptions. Like, that's about what Love's doing, right?
Yeah, Love at the end of 2023 was unbelievable, but we'll see what happens here to close this year, because Rodgers got hot and they won the Super Bowl. And then the next year, I think, is when he won MVP. So Let's see how 2023 closes. But so far, I think they've been kind of close.
You
Obviously,
can't say there's been a huge gap.
no. Obviously, Rodgers then took off. Sean Armson says, "Hey fellas, is it time for Bo Melton to get his flowers yet? Best two-way player in the league on the depth chart at cornerback." Is torching the Chicago secondary for a tutty in a massive game. Arguably Green Bay's best special teams player when called on. Saw Green Bay draft 2 receivers, read the writing on the wall, and worked his ass off to keep the job. Unlike our poor friend, Mr. Malik Heath. Read more. Really thought, what can't the guy do? I think nationally, no, but like I feel like Packers fans give Bo Melton flowers. Like he's an important guy to that team, and every time he's asked about it, LaFleur says the same thing. The work ethic, the being a teammate, right? You mentioned being a great teammate, Sean. Yeah, I think he definitely deserves his flowers, and he had a massive, massive touchdown against Chicago. Goose and Quill.
Yeah, but it's calling Bo Melton and asking him to get a lot of credit when he has 3 receptions on the year. Like it's again,
Yeah.
he's been fine for them. He's showed up when he's needed to, but Bo Melton has not been a consistent producer on offense.
Yeah. Goose and Quill says Packers can essentially guarantee the 1 seed if they win out. Seahawks lose 1 and the Rams lose 1. How realistic is this? You kind of need Detroit to beat the Rams, and then you're gonna need the Seahawks. What's the Seahawks schedule? I thought the Rams was like the most likely game.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks coming up, they have that Rams game. They play the Phillip Rivers this week. Then they go to Carolina and they go to San Francisco to close the year. But I'll say like I think it's more realistic actually that those teams drop 2 and the Packers drop 1 than that the Packers win out.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Winning 4 games in a row in the NFL against decent opponents, and all 4 of the teams they play are decent opponents except the Minnesota Vikings.
For that to happen, though, you need the Lions because the Rams are going to win their other. The Rams have 2 tough games left. Nucky Duck. Do you think teams intentionally plan their defense around holding Parsons since refs refuse to call even the most outlandish penalties? No, but I think guys try to do it and get away with it when they can, and sometimes have to do it and have gotten away with it. Bryce W says, assuming McCarthy isn't the long-term answer, or at least needs a few years to develop, do you think the Vikings are heading toward a rebuild given the aging defense and cap pressure? If so, what would that rebuild look like? And with Kwesi's inconsistent draft record, is the first step bringing in a new GM, GPG? Well, we're going to get Joe Burrow, and everything will be fine. So there's nothing to worry about.
Assuming we can't get Joe Burrow, though, the answer is the Vikings, they can't be paying the top of the NFL in cash for a bad team. And they have a huge cap crunch coming up next year. Something's got to give.
Kwesi will be there next season, and we'll see if we start falling apart, then he'll be on the hot seat. The seat's like as least warm as it possibly could be right now.
I would say like how Kwesi is GMing for his job next year in the sense that he has to make the right decisions about who to keep and who to let go.
Yeah.
And he has some tough choices, right? Like, what are we going to do with Addison? What are we going to do with TJ Hawkinson? What are we going to do with, like, there's Aaron Jones, right? There's a lot of players that you have to make decisions on. Even guys like Blake Cashman, Jonathan Allen, like, it's not obvious how to handle that. How he handles next year is going to decide whether he keeps his job or not.
Ben says, when will the P.O. box be made? I have some cool football cards I want to send y'all. I remember you keep talking about the cards.
You got to get this P.O. box up.
Yes, I'll go do it. I'll go do it. I'll try and do it early next week. I'll try and go and get it set up. The Tizer. Why is there a lot of discussion that Seattle and LA are better than Green Bay? What is the difference between the two teams? I mean, I actually have the Packers higher than the Seahawks in the power rankings. I don't think there's a huge difference in them. I mean, I think right now more people are paying attention to the Rams and Seahawks because the record's better and they've been flip-flopping the number 1 seed. But Green Bay has had, I would say, bigger struggles. Like, that's what's amazing about the Packers is they're right there for the 1 seed. But if you're just taking the general vibe of both seasons so far this year, like the Rams, we're talking about like a juggernaut. The Seahawks are just blowing people out. The defense has been unbelievable. Green Bay's taken a less typical route to get to where they are, but they're right there. They're in the same tier to me.
Yeah, but the Rams have the best offense in the league. The Seahawks have the best defense in the league, and that's why people put them ahead of the Packers, who are very, very good at both, but are not the best at either.
From Tom, he says, is Micah Parsons not getting holding calls at the level similar to Shaq getting penalized against? Are refs just expected to look past holds on him just to keep the game going over 100 yards and penalties into the void this season?
I do have to say this. Sometimes I think Packers fans are talking about as if like Micah Parsons is the only player who doesn't have this. Myles Garrett called out the refs last year for not getting any holding calls and didn't get a single call for the rest of the season. Like, this is a defensive end thing. And I think some of that has to do with the NFL wanting passing offense. Some of it has to do with the fact that guys get held every game. Some of it has to do with the fact that, like, there's the swim move exception for holds, and it can be hard to tell if you're a line judge. But this is a problem every elite defensive end faces, and the Packers are now seeing it because they finally have one.
Kika Yeet says, so I hope I probably butchered that pronunciation. I'm very sorry. So should Minnesota have taken Aaron Rodgers? Paul was right for once. JK, Paul. That was a great JK at the end, because I feel like I've been, typically speaking, I feel like I'm decent with the takes. Yeah, we should have taken Rodgers. 100% we should have taken Rodgers. I think we'd be a pretty good team with Aaron this year. And I thought we fit him much better than the Steelers. Trevor Wilson, how do you guys feel about James Franklin to Virginia Tech? And it's too bad Jack's not here for that. And Ziggy, I love you, but having Notre Dame and UVA as your two schools might be the least likable duo in college football, coming from a VT fan.
So I will say this. I don't really care about UVA football at all. Anybody who knows me can say I was the biggest doomer and biggest hater of UVA football this year. I was rooting against them in the conference championship game just because this UVA team was so obnoxiously fraudulent. And I was right, by the way.
It hurt
they
us
were going to lose. You remember, I was telling anyone who would listen. As for James Franklin to Virginia Tech, it's an outstanding hire. He recruits great in Virginia. You can tell that guys want to play for him because he's basically stolen Penn State's entire roster. Virginia Tech will be competing for the ACC championship and a playoff spot every single year with him.
It is a massive, massive, massive hire. Exactly as what for the reasons
bringing Brent Pry back, by the way, despite firing him, huge get for the Virginia Tech staff.
I thought that Wisconsin should have fired Fickle and went after Franklin. That was something I was pretty vocal about. I think that would have been huge for them.
Yes, but I think if you're James Franklin, Virginia Tech is a much better spot for you. You already recruit there. You don't have to do what you had to do in the Big Ten and beat Ohio State and Michigan to win a championship. I think the ACC is a perfect fit for James Franklin.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I just thought, man, what a.
Honestly, I don't think Wisconsin had the money to fire Fickle and get James Franklin, and Virginia Tech did.
Let's see. From Kiki again says, why do you think referees are not interviewed or talk to the media? Conspiracy.
By the way, refs do talk to reporters after every single game. Demise.
Paul, I asked this on Twitter as well. Sorry if I missed it. Before the here we go. Okay. Before the rankings came out, one of your biggest arguments for ND getting in was that you said they had the best chance to beat Ohio State, but with Indiana winning, doesn't that kind of eliminate that point? No, that's not what I said was we were one of the arguments I made was that we were fourth best odds to win it all. But would that mean beating Ohio State? Yes, but it was never an Ohio State take.
Yeah, I assume your claim there, insofar as there is one, is that Notre Dame is better positioned than Alabama and Miami to beat the best teams, including Ohio State.
Yes, and Oklahoma, who I don't know how rode the coattails of the Bama win, which is a bad team. I just think I think all of them. I mean, I think that we were, behind Indiana and Ohio State. I just think if you had a conference championship game and won it, y'all get in easy. We're just never gonna do that though. Like we're not gonna do that. And also, by the way, Miami got in and didn't win the conference championship. Would we have been in the conference championship in the ACC?
Who knows?
Probably, because we would have ran through it. But I'm not saying they should or should not have gotten in. I'm a Badger fan, LMAO. I got no room to talk. I mean, I root for the Badgers too, because of my sister. Speaking of which, as a lifelong Viking fan, can you tell me how to deal with one of my favorite teams being absolute dog crap? Wisconsin Badgers and Vikings. We just got.
Here's what I would do: start a sports podcast, become really popular with opposing fans of the Wisconsin Badgers, and then get to have a whole community you can rant with when your team sucks.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I would do. D-Mines, we can sidebar about Notre Dame because I don't think anyone wants to hear me bitch and moan anymore. M.2. I think the real reason people are mad. Oh my gosh. I think the real reason people are mad about the ND situation is that their decision to skip the bowl game reflects the pointlessness of the bowl games at all. No one wants it to be true, but the old league is dead. For a while now, college football has been going the way of pro football, where only games that meaningfully contribute to the league championship matter. It feels almost disrespectful of the bowl game legacy to play them at all at this point when they mean nothing. I don't say this as an ND supporter. I just think it's presented itself as a case study. My question to y'all then is this. Is college football doing itself a disservice by clinging on to the vestiges of the old system? Notre Dame aside, what good does the selection committee even bring to the NCAA in this day and age? And when will there be profit sharing and a salary cap in college ball?
Can I answer this just because?
Sure.
I'm going to try and see. When will there be profit sharing and a salary cap? Only when this can only happen when they're classified as employees and collectively bargain. So probably never. What good does the selection committee do? The selection committee is. Can you let me answer?
Sorry.
The selection committee is the only thing keeping us from a system where like there's 4 Big Ten bids, it's all conference auto bids played out. Right, the committee lets you have at-large teams. You can't have at-large teams without a committee. So that's like why you would want a committee system in the first place.
What about
I'm not talking about this particular committee or anything else.
What about if you go to back to the BCS ranking and you followed that?
But the BCS ranking was the coaches poll and like the media poll. So like you can have that's effectively just making a bigger committee.
But I think
let's not forget if during like the coaches poll, people forget this. Coaches blatantly manipulated the rankings to try and get their team in.
Yeah, but I feel like it's less. I think the committee is absurdly corruptible.
Yeah, I know you and I disagree on this. You think that like Middle Tennessee State's athletic director is bought and paid for. I'm just saying, yeah, like M2.2 asked like what good could a committee bring? This is the purpose of a committee is to let you have at large teams and stop the big leagues from taking over completely.
I mean, we'll see what happens when Middle Tennessee inks a couple matchups with SEC teams coming up. Like we'll see. We'll just have to pay attention to that. SEC or ACC games. Like yes, I do think that I think 12 people are extremely corruptible. Much more so than the AP poll and the coaches poll combined.
The coaches poll where like we actually saw coaches blatantly manipulate the rankings.
I mean, we blatantly saw the committee manipulate the rankings. Like and then we'll move on. Just literally one sentence for me. If you don't think it was manipulated, go look at the facts of what was said.
No, but you don't understand what I mean by manipulating here. By manipulating here, I mean like Bob Stoops. Like when Northern Illinois was a team that was competing with him for Oklahoma, he ranked Oklahoma number 5 and then didn't rank NIU. And because of that vote, in part, NIU was put below Oklahoma. That's what I mean. NIU's consensus ranking was way like that's the committee. They might have moved the team 1 or 2 spots higher during the coaches poll era. Coaches would leave teams that were competing with them unranked and rank their team near the top every time.
And the bowl games, I've never. I think I like the playoff more. I like the playoff more than the bowl games. I understand that people have an affinity towards them and that there's a nostalgia to the bowl games, but really, I mean, I only care about the New Year's Six. I guess it's different, right? Because I'm rooting for a team that's consistently going for national championships.
Bowl games are important for the broader ecosystem of college football.
And I think, look, I have no problem with what Notre Dame did. I really don't. Especially given how it played out this year. I would like to keep the bowl games around. I think they are important to the sport. And was Notre Dame's actions, I think Notre Dame's actions were due to several different factors, most notably probably them being really pissed off. I don't think it was an embarrassing decision for them. I think they were humiliated nationally by the committee. But yes, generally speaking, I think the bowl games are good to play. I'd like to keep them going. Sly Rascal. We got 2 more here. For the group, considering what good having a generational wide receiver is with no one to throw him, how crazy would a Jefferson for Malik Willis trade be? Utterly ridiculous. Not even
I don't know why this shows up in our comments every single week.
Rage bait. Hugh Pack. Do you think that that Detroit catches Chicago for the final wild card spot and shuts the effing Illinois? I guess I gotta be careful here. The Fibs up. Turns out the Bears fans have been more capable of one-upping their Motown counterparts with who can act more obnoxious after a rare taste of success. I think it will come down to the last game. And I think, I don't think the Lions are going to house them like they did in week 2. I would pick. Man, do I actually think the Bears would win in Chicago? I think right now I lean Detroit.
Detroit's the better team, but Chicago could win. It's not laughable.
Yeah, no, I like Chicago can still win the division. I mean, they beat Green Bay at home and it's on. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Let me just real quickly see.
We got a few super chats here.
Yeah, I want to see the super chats. How many do we have here? Okay. Demise, but JJ has his number. Joe doesn't want to go there. If there's an issue about who's running number 9, gosh, I mean, I guess JJ is 9 though. Wrathscendence, welcome to the PFS Armies. Jordan killing back as well. Thank you guys for joining. That's awesome. Fantasy
and Packer Doug.
Sorry, I didn't scroll down enough there. From I think it's Fantasy Cam. I could imagine Fantasy Camp. Burrow's not injury prone. His O-line is the injury. Burrow's a little injury prone too, but I get what you're saying.
But the more you get hit, the more injury prone you become.
A couple from Demise. Retuspect, Malik, and I hope your Yankee fandom is hurt by me using that a little bit. Paul believes in 9 more than Malik, LOL. Also, Braun is the GOAT, Ziggy, unlike that alcoholic, bald, gambling buffoon who played in Chicago. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I don't feel this strongly about it, to be clear.
Grant Arnaldi says, Ziggy, was it harder to cheer for Pino, right?
Tebow Pino.
Or the Vikings. Also, it was awesome to meet you guys in Green Bay, so I decided to become a member. Oh, thank you very much.
Well, I'll answer that question. It was harder to cheer for Tebow Pino because he's one guy, right? When it's like, when he fails, I mean, the whole team is sad, but like it's one guy who let himself down, let his whole country down. Like, you don't understand when the Minnesota Vikings fail, like the responsibility is diffused and like the state of Minnesota is kind of sad. Tebow Pino was the hope of an entire generation of French people. And you would just see him sobbing after these races because he couldn't get it done. And like he got hurt or whatever.
Sad.
It's a different deal.
Just vibing on the plane right now to Denver for Packers Broncos. You guys are my entertainment. Go Pack. Wow, have a great time. That should be a lot of fun. Denver. I've heard unbelievable things about Denver.
If you are in Denver, there's this Japanese place. What's the name of it? I'm trying to remember. It's like this guy who Domo Japanese Garden. It's this guy who runs like an Aikido studio in Japan and like makes food on the side. One of the 5 best meals of my life at this studio. You should go there.
Demise. Honestly, I'm wondering why the Colts didn't call someone like Derek Carr. LOL.
I mean, Derek Carr, getting him would be tricky because he medically retired, and the Saints probably wouldn't want to take a $30 million dead cap hit to help out the Colts for no compensation. So I don't think he's an option.
Are you scared?
They apparently called Derek Carr and he said no, and the Saints said no.
Interesting. Demise also said, "Are you scared you may lose Flores this offseason?" I mean, a little bit. I bet the interest in him is going to continue to increase every offseason. I mean, there's still.
He's not going to get hired until his lawsuit is
resolved.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. I'm not particularly worried right now, but I think eventually he will. If it keeps up like this, I have to imagine at some point, right? You gotta think he'll be a coach again.
It was a true disaster in Miami, though.
It was, and I mean, you're suing the league, like that. I mean,
but hey, the Vikings hired him as a defensive coordinator, despite that. So who knows?
Yeah. I would say that I'm a little worried someone will eventually bite on it. Stro, big fan. Genuine question: would y'all consider a college football segment? I work Saturdays, and hearing Paul rant makes me miss it. I think we can probably. I don't think we'll ever go live on Saturdays or anything like that, just because for the sake of having life. But I think we could add a little bit in during the year outside of the Jack Cap of the week, or at least at the end of the show. I enjoy talking college football, so yeah, I think it's a possibility. Packer Doug, you actually thought about bringing in Bisaccia? No, I was joking. I was just kidding. Fantasy Camp, Jack would be like the bounty hunter in JP Blindsided. Joshua Tainter is that Peyton and the Broncos against the Pack in the Super Bowl. Paul, who you rooting for? Oh gosh.
Paul, you know the answer. Just admit it.
I actually might root for the Packers.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I'm not a Sean Payton. I mean, he's one of the biggest, perhaps the biggest affiliation of the 09 Saints you could get. Demise. Miles Bokeem Melton. Okay. I read that as like Miles Boykin, remember from from ND?
Yeah.
From East Egg Harbor, New Jersey, has mostly played special teams. Y'all, that would be why he hasn't popped up the counting stats you were talking about.
If he was good enough to be a solid wide receiver in the NFL, he would play more snaps at wide receiver.
And last one from Demise. I did go to school for digital media sports broadcasting. Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. If y'all needed a Badger correspondent, LOL. Look, I would do some college football stuff.
You picked a bad time to volunteer to be the Badgers correspondent, though.
Well, next year, I'm going to be at, for sure. I think a lot of our friends will too. I'm not sure if you will, Ziggy. Notre Dame, Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. Like, I will be at that game.
Yeah, but the Badgers finished 15th in the Big
Oh,
10.
no. I mean, the Badgers are in a bad spot, but like that will be a lot of fun. So hopefully,
Oh no, sure. I just mean this is not the time to start following the Badgers. There was a one team in the Big 10 with a worse record.
What's up, Elliot? I see your message there. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Appreciate everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed this this mailbag here. We've never done a live mailbag before, but we figured it would be a fun way to get through questions. We could do the live chats as well. Really appreciate everybody in the chats. A bunch of members there. Again, if you're not a member, you can leave comments in every other live we do. This is just a video that we try and put out for the members who support the channel, and we really, really appreciate that. It helps us get new equipment, go on these trips, improve the studio. Like it's awesome. And
this is an amateur operation here. We do not have a lot of money to work with. So like Pat McAfee, when he signed his like $20 million FanDuel deal, he could do whatever he wanted. We actually, like, every single dollar materially goes to improving the show.
So that's why we made this members only for the chat as well, just to kind of have it be somewhat of a reward, I guess you could say.
And it sounds crazy to say our next mailbag will be right before the playoffs, right? It'll be like our playoff
pretty
mailbag.
much. I mean, I'm guessing we'll do it at the start. Maybe we'll do it right before the playoffs start.
I think that's what we should do. I think it'll be like the week before the playoffs starts. So we can get their playoff questions in.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And again, we're less than 900 away from 30K. So if you're enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, let's keep feeding into these Joe Burrow to Vikings rumors. I think the more that we all push this, I really think that it could lead to some great things for the show.
Because, Joe Burrow pays some attention to what the media says, right? And Joe Burrow might start thinking, hey, Minnesota, that doesn't sound so bad.
No, just a little chilly. That's it. And bring a jacket and you're fine. I mean, play indoors, right? It's warmer playoff conditions than you'd get in Cincinnati. Let's make this happen, guys. We can do this as a community here. We're just going to get a bunch of people saying like how horrible the Vikings are. All right, let's wrap it up there. Appreciate it, guys. We will see you probably Sunday. Maybe there's a video coming out tomorrow. Bye. All right.